Hello.
Hey, that's Paul Baylor. I know him.
Some days. Most days, even.
How was your day off?
It was nice. I watched TV. I played some video games. Yeah. Went to the grocery store because I had to do that. Because turns out I still need to eat.
It's true. It's true. We do need food to survive. What video games you playing?
I just downloaded Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Switch. Yeah, I was a big fan of those games. I guess the last one came out 10 years ago. It's just a mindless beat 'em up, Diablo clone, but it's got superheroes in it, so yay.
Now that's a big co-op game, right?
Yeah, so I'm playing it right now by myself. But my family's currently on vacation at the beach, so it's just me here. I don't like the beach. That's a topic for another day. But yeah, I plan on playing it a lot with my son and maybe my daughter if she's interested when they get back. But I couldn't help myself. I had to start now.
Okay. And what's the verdict so far?
It's pretty good. I enjoy it. It's exactly what I expected. It's not fancy. It's just, button mashing, getting better stuff, killing bad guys. It's like video game junk food.
Now I'm assuming that you can play as different characters, so you're probably Spider-Man?
I've been switching constantly. I have maybe like 15 characters unlocked so far.
Wow.
Yeah. You get a bunch as you go through. It's, I think there's 30 at launch, and there's going to be a whole bunch more with DLC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So who are you playing as?
Oh, geez. I've been playing... My favorites so far have been Deadpool, Captain Marvel, and Iron Fist so far.
Okay. Sounds very good. Sounds very good.
Yeah. Yeah. What have you been playing, Drew?
What have I been playing these days? A few of us have been playing... okay, let me take a step back. So I own an Xbox again. I say again, even though I've owned an Xbox for a while, but I actually went and bought one of the new Xbox One X's.
Right.
I recently redid my living room, and to kind of celebrate my new employment, I went and picked up a Microsoft Xbox One X, and I have the Xbox Live Game Pass, which is basically paid for itself several times over. So I don't know if you've seen what that is.
Yeah, I'm familiar, but why don't you explain it for the one listener who doesn't know?
Yeah, well, what it is it's basically a subscription service that you can sign up for, and it gives you access to a library of at least over 100 games. I've never seen a game go off of Xbox One Game Pass, but maybe they have, and I just haven't paid attention. The other nice thing is there is a beta out right now where you can also play PC games. So there are certain games on Xbox Game Pass where you get the Xbox edition and or the Windows edition. So games like Forza Horizon 4, Sea of Thieves. There's a lot of really good games on there. So I picked one of those up as well. And I've been playing a little game called Hollow Knight on the Xbox. I own it for the PC. I picked it up on some Steam sale at some point, but I just never really got into it. Well, this game was on Xbox Game Pass. I installed it because I'm like, I've always wanted to get back to this game. And to be honest, when I first started out, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. It is a game very much in a Metroidvania type vein, where you are kind of exploring a gothic kind of ruined civilization of bugs. I can't really explain much more. The game starts off very slow. It starts off a little bit boring, but once you get to hour 3 and you kind of see what's going on and some of the abilities that you get, it's amazing. And the artwork, I think someone told me that this game was made by 2 people.
Wow.
But the artwork in this game is phenomenal. Now, it's challenging. There are several boss fights that are basically memorization and pinpoint timing, but it's very fun. Like, I get frustrated with it, but not so frustrated that I don't want to play anymore. I'll get to a point with some of these bosses where I'll just be like, yeah, I need to take a break. but it's really, really good. So I've been playing a lot of that, and several of us are playing Astro Near on the PC, which is I guess the best analogy, it's a very Minecrafty game, except it takes place in a solar system, and you mine resources to build things, to mine other resources, and you keep building up. But the catch here is that you have to eventually build a rocket ship and kind of blast off to some of the other planets in the same solar system to get the resources you need to continue. So you basically have to build up these pipelines to go back and forth from these planets, and it's very cool. It's very, very fun to play with multiple people, so we've been playing a lot of that as well.
Excellent.
Oh boy. So do we want to talk about what happened this week?
I think we should.
Okay. I'm gonna let you tell the story, because I gotta be honest, it's been almost 24 hours, and I still really don't know what happened.
Okay, so it must have been a couple of months ago. I don't know. I'm very bad with dates. We get an email. I get an email, and a bunch of my friends and acquaintances at work get an email basically saying that Drew's wife is planning a birthday party for him, a surprise birthday party. Now, when I first got this email, I was like, I'm pretty sure Drew's birthday's in December.
Which it is.
Which it is. But I'm like, am I missing something? Is this tradition? I just kept my mouth shut. And the party was scheduled for yesterday evening at a bowling alley. A bunch of us all got together. We kind of hid along the wall. And then Drew came in, and we surprised him. And that's because his birthday is in December, and he did not expect a 40th birthday party in the middle of July. So I think on that aspect, your wife really knocked it out of the park. You were surprised. Yeah, there was bowling, there was pizza. We had a few adult beverages. Yeah, it was really well planned. And it was a surprise, and I think everyone had a good time. So how are you feeling about it, Drew?
So I got to hand it to my wife. She really surprised me because, okay, so here's the deal. You know, apparently and unbeknownst to me, is that I guess this has been in the works for quite some time.
Yep.
And this was all planned, like you said, months ago. And again, I had no idea. But the catch here is that this planning took place kind of before I started transitioning jobs.
That's true.
So this all went down, and then I decided that I wanted to take, a different path with my career. And I ended up switching jobs. Now, my wife obviously had these plans and these dates picked out. And she really didn't know what it was going to mean if I changed jobs. So I changed jobs, and my schedule has been pretty set. But a couple weeks ago, I found out that I was going out of town this week. So we're recording this on a Friday. This party took place on a Thursday. I went out of town the Sunday before. Now, the weeks leading up to this trip, when I told her, oh, by the way, babe, I have to go out of town, she kind of looked at me and said, well, you'll be back by Thursday, right? Now, she sold this to me as a function for her work. And, most people don't know my wife because we don't do a whole heck of a lot together. Let me take a step back. That sounds terrible. The group of people at the party have all met my wife.
Yes.
But, there are a lot of people that I work with now that haven't met my wife. And there's a lot of people maybe listening that haven't met my wife. I know there's a lot of people in the SQL Server community that I travel about and haven't met my wife. The thing about my wife is that when she sold this as a work party, she was very, very adamant that she wanted me to go. Now, there have been times where there have been events for her work that she has wanted me to go to, and I had about a 50% attendance rate. And she doesn't like that. She likes me to come out. I mean, really what it comes down to is I am just tremendous arm candy is what it comes down to, right? Like that's
absolutely.
That's really what it comes down to. So she really likes me to go to her events. So when she framed it as I really, really want you to go to this thing, I took that to mean I'm going to try to get back, but if I don't get back, baby, I tried, but we got held up because here's the thing. I was traveling to Nashville, Tennessee for work, and I was a passenger in somebody else's car. Now, my wife doesn't know this person at all, so she wasn't able to reach out to this person and say, hey, please make sure Drew's back by such and such time on Thursday. But she really drilled it into my head, hey, I really want you to come to this thing. Please make sure you're back. And, she said it enough times in the right tone of voice that I was like, all right, I really have to go to this thing. But in the back of my head, I was very much of the opinion that if we get stuck in traffic,
what's the harm?
Yeah. So we got up kind of early. So Nashville is an hour behind Columbus, Ohio in the time zone game. So we left there at 10 o'clock-ish in the morning local time, which is 11 o'clock our time. Now, assuming no traffic, no construction, no problems, no accidents, it's about a 6-hour drive with no stops. Now, when we drove down, it was almost 6 on the nose. We didn't stop at all, and we got there roughly in 6 hours, and that was with a little bit of traffic in the Nashville area. But on the way back, we encountered quite a bit of traffic in a few cities because, in order to drive from Columbus to Nashville, you have to go through Nashville, obviously, and then you also have to go through Cincinnati, which on a weekday can be a little rough. And add to the fact that we encountered a lot of heavy rain on the way home. So there was a few accidents. It actually took us 7 hours. Now, if you do the math, I got home right before 6 o'clock Thursday night, and I was exhausted, right? I had been in the car all day. I really, even though I wasn't driving, I really couldn't sleep because, I don't want to just totally zonk out and not talk to the person driving the car. It's just, it kind of makes the time go a little bit faster. So I was really tired because I'd been gone since Sunday. There were some pretty long days at this particular visit, and I was just really tired. And when I got home, I said to my wife, I'm like, hon, I'm really, really hungry. I just want to get some Chipotle. And she goes, well, we should probably hurry because we're going to be late. I'm like, baby, I got to eat. And at that point, there was an 87% chance that I was just going to say, I'm too tired to go to this thing. Now, knowing my wife, she probably would have pushed really hard. I really, really need you to go to this. I don't think she would have given up the surprise unless I had been really snarky and crappy with her that I didn't want to go. At that point, she might have spilled the beans, but she didn't. So I ate really quick. So we hop in the car. I changed my shirt. I probably smelled awful, but I changed my shirt. We hop in the car and we drive over to this bowling alley called 10 Pin Alley in Hilliard. So we get there and we're pulling into the parking space, and I look over and I see a black Challenger with Ohio State alumni plates. Now, our friend Matt drives such a car with such a license plate. And I looked at it and I said to my wife, I said, oh, Matt Keller must be here. But that didn't tip me off because here's the thing. Matt Keller lives in the greater Hilliard area and has been known to go to 10 Pin Alley with his family. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll run into Matt here. And I didn't think anything of it. So we walk in and Mandy says something to the hostess. And I don't really hear what she says, but it looks like the hostess is struggling with something. And it again, nothing's clicking for me. And they're talking, and I'm like, for the Conger Elementary party. I just want to get in there, I want to get in there and get this over with, right? So we walk back to the private area, and I start to see people I realize, and it's slowly dawning on me that this isn't for her work. Something's going on here. And everybody yells surprise, but it never dawned on me that this was a birthday party. I thought maybe this was
why would you? Yeah.
Because it's 5 months till my birthday.
Exactly. There were balloons. It was "Happy Birthday, Drew" on a bunch of television screens.
I didn't even see that because I was so flabbergasted, and my dad's there, and I was completely floored because first of all, it's brilliant, right? It was brilliant. I got to give her credit, but at the same time, I was just so floored that I really didn't know how to react because, okay, it's my birthday party. It's my birthday party. Like my brain really couldn't process everything that was happening, and there's a lot of people there, which also made me feel really good, which we'll get back to that in a minute. But it was just so friggin' surreal. Like, she sold it brilliantly.
She did. It was perfect.
It was
perfectly
good.
done.
Yeah. Apparently, it's been in the works for a while. The change of job was a bit of a hurdle, but I know she had some inside people there that were helping plan. So shout out to everybody that made it. It was a really good night, and I got to tell you, I'm getting a little sappy for a minute. It's hard when you don't, because a lot of people there were people that you still work with, but I don't.
Right.
But it's actually really reassuring that those particular people, especially those people that were there, are more than people who are just coworkers. And it definitely meant a lot to have everybody there. It made me feel really, really good inside to know that all of you are my friends and that you managed to come out for that. Because it's a Thursday night, right? Like,
yeah.
It's a school night. I definitely had too much to drink, and had to work today, and also worked out today.
Yeah.
Thanks to you being so generous and buying me all those adult beverages.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
But it was a really good time. So we did a lot of bowling. Robert broke a bowling lane.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a true story. But it was a really good time. There was pizza. There were cupcakes, macarons, or macaroons, depending on how you say those. And everybody looked like they had a good time. My wife's family was there. Like I said, my dad was there. Some other people came that I used to work with and play games with. I really feel like everybody had a pretty good time that was there. So I'm really thankful for the people that were there. They're all my friends, and I had a really good time. So thank you for being a part of that. But that was.
It was our pleasure. Like, I think every single person that was invited showed up. Like, it was, everyone made the time because we love you, Drew. So
yeah, it felt good. I
was happy to be there.
Yeah, and I wish I hadn't been like so tired and like a little bit shocked, because I was literally in a state of shock when it started to dawn on me what was happening. So I probably wasn't nearly as social as I probably could have been. So I felt a little bit bad. Like, I didn't want to come across like I didn't appreciate it. I just had a really, really hard time processing everything that was happening. So
yeah, it was 5 months early. So yeah, it's kind of a shock on the brain.
Well, the real bummer now is I'm not going to have a birthday in December, apparently.
That's what you think.
Yeah. So that was an interesting thing that happened. So if you're out there and the other thing was too is it was a 40th birthday. So that was the other thing that kind of sparked all this, right? Because I am turning 40
because you're old. You're going to be an old now.
I am an old.
A man of a certain age.
A man of a certain age with certain problems. Yeah, but it was good. It was good. But, it's been a very, very busy week. Today was also pretty busy because, segueing here, tap dancing between topics, I took my MacBook Pro to the Apple Store today.
Yeah, I saw that on the topic list, and I'm concerned. So I would love to hear what happened.
So, everybody that listens to this show by this point probably realized that both Paul and I are diehard Mac users at this point. We both own MacBook Pros, and yes, there are problems with the butterfly keyboards that exist, and mine has held up pretty well. I have a late model 2018 MacBook Pro, and it has held up very well. However, I will say that a few months ago, I started noticing that I was getting extra presses on my E key. And my first name has an E in it. My last name has a lot of E's in it. So that happens
like
more.
13 E's,
yeah,
right?
like 14 and a half E's. So that happens more than I care to. And like, God forbid I have a password that's not in my password manager that has an E in it.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
That makes things weird. So, I finally got to a point. I was on site visiting a place for work this week, and doing live demos and having to type in demos, it's very annoying, right? So I decided that it's time to take this in and get the keyboard replaced. So if you're not a huge Mac user and you don't follow this saga, the later model MacBook Pros have butterfly switch keyboards, which makes the key travel very, very short. It helps the laptop be a lot thinner. It was some kind of, design decision somewhere that this was the keyboard mechanism that it was going to go to. A lot of people hate those keyboards for a lot of reasons, but I like it. I never had a problem typing on my keyboard, these extra key presses notwithstanding. I've never had a key that didn't work. I just have keys that give me extra key presses when I don't want them. So, Apple has gone through a few revisions of their keyboards. They have extended basically free support to keyboards. Now, when you buy a MacBook Pro, it's certainly not a cheap purchase, so I splurged for Apple Care. So even if I wasn't necessarily covered by this extended keyboard repair, I was going to be okay.
Right.
And from everything I've read about this, there's two things. One, they have evolved the repair process for keyboards because this is a pretty big issue. Apple has never come out and said, yep, we messed up, our keyboards are trash. But they are basically kind of silently acknowledging, like, yeah, we'll replace your keyboard and we're not going to charge you anything up to, like, I think it's like 2 years or something. I forget.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. So, and, depending on what make and model your Mac is, you get different keyboards when you take it in for service. So if you have a slightly older Mac,
like me,
like Paul, if you take your Mac in for keyboard service, they basically take your Mac apart and they put the exact same keyboard back in it. A slightly better one than might already be in there because they made a few slight tweaks to like the membrane underneath the keyboard to keep particles and things out. But you're essentially getting the same keyboard. But if you have a later model Mac like I do, the most recent MacBook Pro revisions have a new-ish keyboard mechanism that is supposed to,
new materials,
hopefully eliminate these keyboard problems. So my computer qualifies that if I take it in for keyboard replacement, I will get this newer keyboard mechanism. Now, from what I understand, the process works like this. It used to be that if you needed service, you would take your computer into a Mac store to the Genius Bar, or you could mail it to Apple and they would do the repair, and then, depending on whether you took it to the Apple store, or sometimes if you didn't, they would mail the computer back to you once the repair was complete. But now, because they realize the volume and velocity of keyboard repairs is kind of high, they're prioritizing the turnaround, and apparently these repairs are now being done in store.
Yeah, that is correct. They're
okay.
Doing them try to do them same day in store when possible.
So I made an appointment to take my computer into an Apple store today. There are 2 Apple stores here in Columbus. One is definitely closer to me than the other, so of course the one that had appointments is the one that's further away.
Of course.
So I take it in. Now, when I made the appointment online, the people booking the appointments have no idea how busy the store is, if they have the materials to do the repair. They basically just create the appointment, and you have to take your Mac in to the store. So when you get there, you tell the nice people at the front door, hey, I've got a Genius Bar appointment. I have a Mac that needs repaired. They tell you to sit at a certain table, and then the tech comes over and you kind of explain what's happening. I was fortunate that I had a really, really nice guy as my tech, and he did all the diagnostics. He was able to actually press the keys and realize, like, yeah, this is probably something that needs to go. And I asked him, what's the turnaround? And he said, well, I don't have the parts here. And I was like, crap. Yeah. And it's not, so.
Yeah.
So that
doesn't feel good.
Yeah. So that was like the first thing that happened, right? Now, here's the thing I didn't understand, Paul, is that in order to do the repair, they basically he explained the process to me. They basically put the computer in a specialized vice grip that lifts the entire top of the keyboard cover off the computer.
Yeah, I've heard that it's all like the keyboard and the top case are like one piece.
They are exactly one piece. So the entire, if you get a keyboard replacement, you not only get a keyboard replacement, you get a touch bar replacement, a keyboard replacement, the top of your case replacement, speaker replacement, and a battery replacement.
Wow.
The logic board, part of the logic board gets replaced. Your T2 chip does not get replaced. Your fingerprint sensor does not get replaced. But there's a lot of components that come off on that top piece. Now, here's the really crappy part. I have a space gray MacBook Pro, the 32 with 32 gigs of RAM. They had the silver part. So that was a pretty big kick in the nuts. Like that.
Yeah. So what did you do?
So what they did was he said, you can drop it off now. I'm going to try to get the part in. There is an outside chance it gets here tomorrow. It will probably get here Monday. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to email or call me when the part is there. I will take it in. The guy said that, it rarely takes them longer than 24 hours. Honestly, the diagnostics that they run before and after is the longest part because, to put it in the machine,
make sure everything works.
Right. To put it in the machine, pop the top, switch the bits, put everything back together is like a 10-minute job, but the testing takes, 3 to 4 hours because they do a bunch of EFI testing. And I kind of got an inside view about how they do that. And it was pretty cool. So I'm hoping that the part gets here Monday, Tuesday next week. I can run in there, drop it off, work on my other computer that I have for work for a day, and then go back in and get it. But I didn't leave it. I drove all the way back home. But the thing is, I had to take it in to get to this step, whether they had the part or not, right? So it was a little extra inconvenience to get this done. And I hate that I have to get it done, but I know I'm not alone, so that I take a little solace in that. And, I'm going to get a new battery. I'm going to get a new keyboard. It's a hassle, but it needs to be done.
Yeah, so I have a 2017 MacBook Pro. So, yeah, I'm one of those computers that if I got my keyboard replaced, I get the exact same model with the exact same problems. I've had issues with my 5 and my left command key, which, if you know, I use that key a lot. I love keyboard shortcuts, so that was crippling. But so far, I've gotten away with a liberal application of compressed air, and that has fixed both of my problems. But I live in fear of the day that keyboard fails. The moment Apple comes out with the new MacBook Pro with a new keyboard design, hopefully back to the scissor switches, they're going to get my money. I'm just be like, I'm done. I want a new computer.
Yeah, I'm hoping to hold on to this computer for at least another year, probably longer, because it's actually a really good computer. And this particular keyboard issue doesn't affect me every day because when I'm at home, I have it propped up on a stand, hooked up to a monitor, and I have a wireless keyboard. So it's a non-issue. For 80% of the time, I'm using the computer, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, so I'm the same way. Most of the time, I use an external keyboard, but it's not 100% of the time. No,
when I'm in meetings or I have to go off-site, I'm using the keyboard, and that part kind of stinks a little bit. So I'm glad I'm biting the bullet and getting this done because I know that I will not be buying another MacBook Pro this year. But there's probably a better than average chance that, in 2020 I will be buying another one. So I'm hoping that they continue to improve upon the design and it's not as much of an issue anymore.
Yeah, from what I've heard, so in between when this keyboard design came out and now, Apple created a new team inside of their company called, it's like the Pro Services team, and they really focus on pro users like developers and movie makers and music producers. And since they've been involved, they were responsible for the iMac Pro, the redesigned Mac Mini, and the new Mac Pro that's coming out. And from the rumors I've heard is the next MacBook Pro that's coming out has their input in it as well. And they've been doing pretty good so far. The hardware they designed has been really good, at least in my opinion. So I'm hoping the next MacBook Pro has a new designed, better designed keyboard. And this will be behind me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge inconvenience, and everybody that's listening that hates Apple is laughing at us. But we like nice things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love my Mac.
Yep. Let's see. So there's a few things on our document that I'm dying to hear you talk about. I have one highlighted there. Are we ready to talk about that one? Whoops, that was bad.
Oh, so my bag won't be here till next Tuesday, so we can talk about the decisions I've made. but I won't have an actual review until next week.
Yeah, let's hold on that one. Instead, let's hear you talk about your where was it? Your meal delivery service.
Yeah. So, geez, about a month ago, my wife, she's not computer illiterate, but she's not the most savvy. Like, I'm responsible for paying all the bills online. She's not really too ambitious online, but she got a bug in her bonnet, a bee in her bonnet, that she wanted to sign up for a meal delivery service. So she did some research, and I guess one of her friends had a suggestion. So basically, meal delivery service, you sign up, you pick how many meals you want a week, and they send you a box just packed with, dry ice and cooling packs and well insulated. And then you have food for so many meals a week. I was kind of skeptical at first. I do most of the cooking. Well, almost all of the cooking in the house. So I knew the burden would be on me for meal prep. I'm not the best cook. I'm more survival driven. I mean, I make a few good dishes that I'm pretty proud of, but mostly the food I cook is about the least amount of effort involved for me to get food that tastes good on my plate. So we signed up for a service called everyplate.com. They bill themselves as America's Best Value Meal Kit. And the prices start at $5 a serving. So we have been doing this for 3 weeks now. We get 3 meals every week delivered to our door. And I am absolutely in love with this service. The idea of it. I'm eating new foods. I'm learning new ways of cooking. It's truly, truly just a life-changing idea. It's not like I don't have to go out and research the recipes and make sure I have the right food. And, looking for recipes online now, it's like, I don't know if you looked at a recipe online, but it's like 90% blog content where they're reminiscing about how this food made them feel or who made it for them. And the recipe is kind of tagged there at the end and you have to search for it. Just get this nice laminated card with all the ingredients you need, all the instructions. Each meal takes about 30 to 45 minutes to prepare. And I can't stress it enough. It's been life changing.
Okay, so I've never been a person to sign up for like a subscription box. Over the years, I've toyed with a few ideas about doing them. I thought about maybe signing up for like a bark box or something for my dog, but I never went in for like a Loot Crate or a meal delivery service or
me either,
or the millions of other different subscription boxes they have. Now, interestingly enough, I became a Stitch Fix user about 2 months ago.
Okay.
Paul, you've met me. You know that I'm definitely not the snappiest dresser. It's not that I have bad clothes.
You look nice. Yeah.
It's not that I don't have decent clothes. It's just, as a function of my previous job, I didn't necessarily dress well every day. Occasionally you would catch me in like a polo shirt, but by and large, I wore a lot of t-shirts in the summer and long sleeve shirts of different materials and types and like pullovers and sweatshirts and things in the winter.
Yeah.
And, I've never been one to really pay attention to the size of clothes I'm wearing. I basically try to wear things that don't feel tight and don't feel too loose. There was a period there about 1.5 years ago where I lost a lot of weight and I didn't necessarily buy a bunch of new pants. So sometimes my dress pants would look a little too baggy on me. So in this new role I have, how I look is a lot more important. So I made a conscious decision that, as part of my role transition, I want to try to look better. And I have known a few people in circles that I travel, both in and out of work, that have raved about the Stitch Fix process. And I always kind of told myself that this probably wasn't for me because as much as I love shopping for things on the internet, buying clothes or shoes or things that I can't like try on, especially if they're, like a $60 polo, like I want to make sure it fits and it looks nice and
Yeah.
go to a store and try it on, right? Like that's what it's for. But I don't really have a sense of style either. Like I know what I like, but I don't like. I can't coordinate an outfit.
You're talking to a person who mostly dresses in black t-shirts. So,
yeah, and like
I get it.
About my only like practical knowledge of fashion is how to pair a tie with a dress shirt. Like I learned how to do that at my very first job, where occasionally I'd have to go to places where I'd have to wear a tie. So I know how to pair a tie with like dress clothes and slacks and things, but like, I don't know how to like color coordinate shorts with shirts and things like that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to sign up for Stitch Fix. And I'm on my third month. I've just gotten my third delivery today. I haven't opened the box yet to see what's in it. But I'm enjoying this process so far. So the way Stitch Fix works is, whenever you first sign up for the service, you go out to their website and you answer some basic questions about you, like how old are you? What do you do for work? What do you like to wear? What don't you like to wear? What's your size? You have to answer a bunch of questions. And then, I'm sure they have some algorithms or, rough machine learning that kind of starts you with a giant, like, graph database of different things that might or might not match you. But in addition to that, there is like what they call a style shuffle on their website, where you basically get rapid fire choices of, do you like this or no? Thumbs up or thumbs down? And you have to answer. You have to answer relatively quickly. So you have thumbs up, thumbs down, stuff I like, stuff I don't like. So when they ship you your box every month, and you can do more than once a month. You can do once a month. You can do several times a month. You can do once every other month. There's a couple different subscription options. And the base subscription service is $20 a month. Now, that's
reasonable.
Yeah. Oh, but that's not even the best part. So when you get your box full of clothes, there's usually 5, maybe 6 different items in there. And the first box I got had a pair of shorts, a couple shirts, and a belt. So when you get these things, you then decide, after you try things on, what you want to keep and what you want to send back. So included in your box is like a mailer, like a USPS mailer, that you throw the things in that you don't want, and then you drop it in the mailbox and it goes back. And the things you keep, you pay for. So, in your box, there's an itemized, kind of like a receipt of, here's what these things cost. Now, here's where they get you. If you buy everything that comes in the box, you get a 25% discount off the total order. But if you don't, you pay full price for everything. So like in that first box, I didn't need the belt. I actually have 5 or 6 really nice belts for like dress clothes or things I can wear with jeans and stuff of that like. So I didn't need the belt. So I sent the belt back and I kept the rest. And I ended up paying close to $200 for the entire ensemble. Now, had I kept the belt, I probably would have paid slightly less than $200. So it kind of came out, because the belt was a little expensive. It was a nice leather belt. But the $20 subscription fee you pay a month goes towards your purchase as well. So if you do buy things, you're immediately saving $20 because of your subscription, and then you pay for what you keep. And, your stylist kind of gets to learn, because I mean, they say it's a human, but it's probably a computer that they give a name to. And, you have to provide links to your social media, like your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Facebook. So, and like, I'm assuming they go out there and get pictures of you to see what you look like and how I'm sure they're, at worst, there's some, data mining process that they're, harvesting my data to figure out, well, this guy likes plaid shirts. Or best case, maybe it really is a stylist that they're paying to look at pictures of me, which I'm so sorry if that's you.
No, that's their privilege.
Yeah. So, they've been pretty good. I will say that this month I got another pair of blue shorts, and I already got a pair of blue shorts from them, so that's a little bit of a miss. But the rest of the stuff they're sending me, spot on. I've got a couple really nice, like kind of vintage T-shirts. I've gotten some really nice button-down short-sleeve shirts, which I need. I've gotten a few V-neck shirts to wear now that it's hot out. I was kind of hoping for a pair of sandals because my other ones were really ratty. Didn't get those. So it's almost like a little bit like Christmas because you don't know what's coming until you open the box. And then, after you get your delivery, you go on the website and say, here's what I'm keeping and here's what I'm sending back. And then they charge your PayPal or whatever. And that's been a really positive experience. I've gotten much nicer clothes, definitely brands that I probably wouldn't know about or shop at. It's been good because I definitely have to upgrade my wardrobe. So I'm enjoying that. Now, I've never tried the meal delivery thing. I know that I have a few people, members of my immediate family that do it, and they all say really nice things. But the question I have for you is, do you get like one delivery a week? Like, how do they set that out?
Yeah, so it's one delivery a week. Ours comes on Wednesdays, and it's a cardboard box, and they pack it with insulation, and then they kind of have like all the proteins, all the meats at the bottom, and they have a layer of just big cooling pads, like you would put like in a lunchbox, but big. Put that down over the meat, and then like the dairy and the vegetables will kind of be on top, and it has lots of padding, so when inevitably the UPS guy throws it on the porch, like it stays together. Every time we've opened it, everything's still been like comically cold. I don't know how it's possible for it to be this cold in a cardboard box, but it stays that way. Yeah, and you kind of go through and just sort, and yeah.
Well, it's been very hot in the greater Columbus metro area, so that would concern me. Now, you say the food's pretty good?
Yeah, I've been really happy with it. Every time I look, I'm like, oh, that portion's going to be a little small, but I've been, it fills me up every meal. It's just like your Stitch Fix. Like, I'm getting things that I wouldn't necessarily expect or pick for myself. Every week they give you like 8 or 9 options you can pick from, and you pick how many meals, like depending on how many meals you buy, you pick the ones you want. So my wife kind of goes through and picks things because she doesn't like fish or things that are too spicy.
Okay.
Yeah, the ingredients all come. Everything's been really good, really fresh.
So you take them, you take it all out, and you throw it in the fridge. I take it, and then you just cook.
Yep.
You cook one meal a night, right?
Yeah. They give you this nice card on the front. It says all the ingredients that you need, and if you need like supply your own butter or oil, right? Like that's basically what you have to have on hand. And salt and pepper. Everyone has salt and pepper. Yeah, and then each one has oddly 6 steps. Every single one tells you how to prepare it and cook it. And yeah,
now
I'm eating a lot more onion and garlic than I usually do, but it's terrific.
Okay, so hold on a second. So you signed up with everyplate.com. Now I know.
Yes.
There are things like Blue Apron, and there's other meal delivery services. So how did you land on this one?
So I believe she ended up on this one because she had a friend who referred her. And since we used the referral code, we got our first box for free. It's like, because every box is like $40, I think, or around there. So we got our first one for free, and we figured, for free, we'll try it. And we were so impressed with the first 3 meals we got, we've just stuck with it. We're in our 3rd box. The 4th one will come next week. And obviously we don't use it for every single meal, but the 3 meals that we do, I'm looking forward to now. They're great meals. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a plug every plate, so sponsor us.
Yeah.
But that would be weird.
Yeah, that would be weird. I never would have thought about doing it, but I really enjoy it. I'm eating good.
Good for you. Now, okay, hold on. One more thing. So it's mostly dinner, right? Do they not give you things for lunch, or is it just dinner?
Anything could be lunch if you eat it in the middle of the day.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, it is dinner foods. Yeah. and we just do enough for myself and my wife, not the kids yet, because like my kids mostly eat variations of things that are beige. Like they're not too adventurous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great, man. So good find
wonderful.
there. So I would say, listeners, if you're into that, check out everyplate.com. I'm gonna look into it. We're pretty big meal preppers in this house. I don't know if a meal delivery service would necessarily go over well for us, but hey, if you're in the market to try one, I'm assuming they probably have some kind of promo code. Why don't throw your promo code in the show notes, and we'll put a link there, and hope maybe somebody will use it.
Yeah.
So. On the subject of food, there's one other thing I want to bring up here, and that's the concept of hot chicken.
Hot chicken.
So I was in Nashville this past week, I should say. And I didn't get to see, a ton of things in Nashville proper, but I did manage to get out a little bit, and several people that we were visiting there, and I actually asked for a few recommendations on the Twitters as well, and people who replied to that I'm super thankful for. We went to a place called Hattie B's, and I'll put a link in show notes for that, and it is a hot chicken joint. So, Paul, let me ask you, are you familiar with the concept of hot chicken?
I am. I love hot chicken. So let me explain what I believe hot chicken to be, and then you can tell me if I am correct. Okay. So I think it originated in. Actually, isn't it a Nashville specialty?
That's what I didn't quite understand, but I think I believe you're correct.
Yeah. So it's a traditional like fried chicken. But it's prepared in a certain way, and the batter that they put it in is spicy, like a hot pepper, So it's got a little bit of a kick to it. It's not like, oh my god, I'm going to melt your face off. I guess it could be, but usually it's not overly spicy, but it is more spicy than you would get like if you went to KFC or ordered fried chicken from Bob Evans, right? Like this is it's hot because it's spicy.
Yeah,
did I get it? Yeah.
That's a pretty good description. Now, here in Columbus, everybody raves about hot chicken takeover, which
yes.
I had it and I thought it was just fine. I know people go out of their way to get it, but I never really. I had it once. I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to go stand in line to get it again. So. Fast forward to this week, we were in Nashville for work, and one night we decided to head into Nashville proper, and we went to a Hattie B's, which is as I gather, a very famous hot chicken place in Nashville. We decided to get down there a little bit early because we had been warned that this place gets insanely busy, and we were we were kind of like not in the heart of downtown like Broadway, Nashville. We were kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but we get there, before 5 o'clock. It was a little bit early, but we had been told that, hey, it gets pretty busy. So this place, when you roll up to it, there's a bunch of outdoor seating, like on a deck patio, like a covered patio type thing. And there's a door to go in and a door to come out. And when you go in the indoor, you're in line. And there's a giant board that tells you all the different things you can get. You place your order, they give you a little thing with a number, and you go find a seat. Or if you're there for takeout, you grab your stuff when it's ready and you go. Obviously, the big draw is the chicken, which I'll get to in a minute, but they also have a lot of good sides. It looks like they had a few good desserts. They have really good beer on tap. I couldn't tell you what it was, but I had a Pilsner that was really, really good. And I'm not a beer snob by any means, but I like a good tasting beer. It was really, really hot outside when we were there, so I wanted something a little lighter, a little more refreshing. And this particular Pilsner that I had was really, really good. So you get in line. And you walk up and you place your order. Now, they have a few different options for the chicken. You can definitely get a boneless breast chicken sandwich, which if I were going to go there again, that's probably what I would get. But you can also get a half bird, full bird. You can get light meat, dark meat, and then you choose how hot you want the chicken to be. So,
Ooh, that's nice.
People who know me know that I am not the biggest spicy food eater. Now, here are the options, right? You had no heat, which would have been plain,
Right.
just fried chicken at that point, right? And then you had medium, and then you had hot, and then you had I don't know if it was extreme or something. I forget what the name of it was. There was definitely an option after that. And then in big bold letters underneath that, there was one that said "Shut the cluck up," which I assume is probably the hottest tier of hot chicken that this place serves. So I'm standing in line, waiting my turn to place my order. And by the way, it's 4:00 on a Wednesday. Was it a Wednesday? No, it was a Tuesday. It was 4:30 on a Tuesday. And this place is jumping, right?
Right. Wow.
And when we left this place, the line was out the door and onto the street. So clearly, it's a place that tourists go to, but it's also a place that the locals kind of come out to as well. So I'm standing in line, and I decided that I wanted a full bird, and I wanted white meat. White meat. I was a hungry boy that night. I decided that I wanted to go with the medium. Now, I took a few pictures. If you follow me on Twitter or if you follow me on Instagram, you can see pictures of the chicken that came out. I must say that it was very, very good. But if you have any kind of hot or spicy aversion, even the medium caused me to cough a little bit and drink my beer just a little too fast.
Wow.
It did have a decent amount of kick to it, but it was very, very, very good. And the sides that I got the crinkle fries, which were cooked about as near perfection for crinkle fries as you can get. And they had a little bit of salt on them, and they had kind of this other seasoned salt on it. It wasn't overpowering by any means, but you could taste it, and it was very good. Like I said, even the medium had a pretty decent kick to it. I'm sure there are people listening that maybe live in Nashville or have been to Nashville, been to Hattie B's, that can attest to how good it was. I definitely was very, of all the places that I was recommended, this was probably the easiest one to get to without a reservation or anything. And you just roll down. You just sit where you can sit. We sat outside on the deck, on the covered deck, and it was a nice night out. A little warm, but it was good. Not having too much hot chicken in my life, I was kind of leery about it. And if I was going to go get it again, I probably wouldn't go medium again. I would probably go not as hot, and I would get probably the sandwich this time. But it was excellent, and even cutting into the chicken, it was really thick. It was really well cooked. The portion size was pretty big. I couldn't finish it all, but the chicken was really good. And I will officially give a recommendation for that if you're in the Nashville area, to make sure you check out Hattie B's. It was really, really good. And if you're in Columbus and you want kind of a similar analog, there's Hot Chicken Takeover. But yeah, it was really, really good. So.
Yeah, I've never been to Nashville for the food. My biggest exposure to hot chicken was when I lived in Texas. And Texas is known for their barbecue, but they also kind of collect a lot of restaurants that home style cooking. Like you get a lot of southern barbecue down there as well. And there was also a lot of good hot chicken places. Now, I doubt it's as good as Hattie B's, but yeah, it was definitely much better than what I've had at Hot Chicken Takeover. No offense to those of you who like it. It's probably the best hot chicken you can get in Columbus, but it's just not the best hot chicken, period.
Yeah, and you have to. It's never it's an event to go to a Hot Chicken Takeover for lunch unless you work right by it, right? Because you got to get down there, you got to eat it, and you got to do all that stuff. But yeah, again, nothing against it. I never really thought it was that great. Hattie B's definitely blows it out of the water if I have to rank it. So yeah, no, it was good. It was good. It was a good trip. I wish I could have explored Nashville a little bit more, but work kind of came first. Oh, Paul, man, what a week. What do you think? What do you want to close out with here?
Oh, do you want to give an update on your P.O. box?
Yeah. So I did close the loop on my P.O. box. Actually, I got to give credit here. As much as I don't like dealing with the Postal Service, this wasn't that bad. So, for those of you that don't own a P.O. box, here's the basic gist. You go online to the United States Postal Service website. You basically go to reserve a post office box. And speaking of subscription models, it costs you a fee each month. You can buy in 3, 6, or 12 months at a time with, of course, a bigger discount for the length of the contract you're willing to sign.
Right.
You pay basically with how big of a box you need. If you are expecting to receive a ton of packages, you probably want to get some of the bigger boxes. And depending on what post office you select, so Dublin, Ohio has 2 post offices because we have a couple different zip codes here. I went to the same zip code of my house, which is 43017. And when you go to the website...
Don't be creepy.
Please don't be creepy. So when you sign up, you basically type in your address and you pick the post office you want, and I'm sure there's some database behind the scenes that says, here's what we have available, here's what it's going to cost. Just out of curiosity, I priced both post offices, and I'm saving $6 a month at this post office as opposed to the other.
Huh.
Which I found a little bit odd because,
It'd be consistent.
I've been to both post offices, and the other post office is a little bit bigger, and I think it is technically the main post office of Dublin, but I don't understand how the price would be different. But that's neither here nor there because it's just closer to my house, and that's the one I want anyway. So even if the roles had been reversed, I probably would have still chosen this one. So you go online, you pay, and then you have to print out some forms that after you pay kind of get auto-generated for you. You sign them, you take them into the post office. I timed it pretty well that I didn't have to stand in line at all. So you walk up to the counter, the nice person at the post office basically takes your forms. You have to bring 2 forms of ID. They basically give you a checklist of what's acceptable and what's not. They verify that that's who you are. Then they kind of print you a receipt that has the assigned box office number, and they give you 2 keys, and they say, go test these, make sure they work, which doesn't necessarily inspire confidence. But you walk over to your assigned box number, and you try your keys, and you come back and say, yeah, they work. And there's a few other options that can make your post office box experience a little bit different. So one of the things is if I want to get a package, I would say, Drew Ferguel, P.O. Box, whatever. I forget what it is already. P.O. Box, whatever, Dublin, Ohio, 43017. If you were to order a package with that, you probably wouldn't get it. But one thing you can do is when you're buying your P.O. Box, that apparently for no extra charge, you can get a special street address. So if I address it to the post office, suite number, my P.O. Box, it would get delivered. So that's interesting. But you have to sign up for that, which I don't know why you couldn't do that anyway, because there was no extra charge for it. It was just a checkbox when you were registering, and it didn't affect the price of the rental at all. So I don't really understand why you just don't get that anyway, which is weird. I guess some people don't want that. And you can also put a signature on file, so like if somebody sends you something, you don't have to sign for it.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah. Again, doesn't cost anything, but you have to tell them you want that. I have a post office box, and I'm going to be routing some things that I don't necessarily need to get at the house so often there. And if I'm signing up for something that I don't want to get a ton of spam for, I'll probably send stuff there too. And maybe check it once a week-ish, maybe? I don't know. Because it's kind of, it's over by the game store I go to, so 2 birds, right? So
convenient, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all going to work out. So I'm a PO box owner. It's not outrageous to own one or to rent one, I should say. I can see that if you have a business and you need to get packages at the post office or whatever, yeah, some of those bigger boxes can run you hundreds of dollars a month. So just for getting letters, it's not unreasonable. And you get a little key, and you can go get your mail there at the post office like an old person. Well, that was a pretty good one. Yeah. So Paul, what do we say we wrap this up for this week? So tell me where I can find you online.
I'm on Twitter at Paul Baylor, Bahler. And where can they find you, Drew?
I'm on the Twitters at Pittsburgh, Pittfurg.
And as always, you can find the show notes at doingtheirbest.com. We're on Twitter at DoingBestPod. And I think that's it. Yeah. We appreciate people still stop me and say they love the show. So that makes me smile every single time. So thanks to all of you that listen.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that have given a lot of good feedback. I mean, I'm still really enjoying this as we're coming up on our 10th episode. We're closing in on it. So I'm still having a lot of fun. I hope you are too. I hope everybody listening is having fun. I wanted to give a quick update before we sign off that the BBS is still a work in progress. I have it working locally, but like I said, I want to get it running in my Pi Kubernetes cluster. And when that's ready to go, we will definitely make sure we unveil it and get in early, claim your space in the BBS, and come in there and interact with us. Maybe we'll do some live show chats as we record.
Ooh, that would be spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, regular plebs use Discord or something like their Slack, not us. We're going old school in this place. All right, well, Paul, as good as always, we will talk to everybody next week.
Awesome. Thanks for listening.